Much. And ABC News' Tim Pulliam, who joins me now live from Santa Fe, is covering the story for us. Also, ABC News legal contributor and host of the Law and Crime Network, Brian Buckmeyer, is going to weigh in. So, Tim, let's start with you. Alec Baldwin hasn't officially been charged yet, but he is the star of this movie and could face a mandatory 5-year sentence. So, where do things stand with the production? How do you go forward?
You know, the production is really up in the air. They were halfway through completing the film before Hutchins was shot. They were hoping to come back and begin filming at some point this year, but it's really unclear what's going to happen now that he has been charged and court proceedings are going to be taking place. The DA will file those charges within the next 7 days. He will be arraigned, and then he will have the option to appear via video or waive his first court appearance. And then, of course, then there will be a preliminary hearing.
And Brian, you know, the New Mexico DA says that her office is seeking justice for Helena Hutchins. What do you make of these charges? She was pretty direct and pretty blunt that this didn't have to happen when she sat down with our Lindsay Davis.
Yes, the district attorney made strong accusation and made strong words about the charges here. When I first look at them, though, I think you can bring charges, but will they survive either a preliminary hearing, grand jury, and ultimately a trial? I see these charges of involuntary manslaughter, and I think I could see it both ways. I can see Baldwin and Gutierrez creating an environment where negligence could have occurred, but when I look at the facts with Baldwin especially, who said, hey, a gun was handed to me, Halls, I believe, was the individual who said cold gun, and he does have the ability to rely on others. I don't know if it makes it to negligence, but I can see an argument being made, and I understand why then charges are being brought.
So Baldwin, Gutierrez, Reed, they'll be formally charged by the end of January, we're told. Should the case go to trial, their fate would be decided by a jury. So let's talk about what their lawyers will be working on leading up to those official charges.
So a lot of this case, when it comes to negligence, especially in an environment where we're not familiar with, like I don't know much about making movies, but when it comes to negligence, it's about, did you have that standard of care, and did you act in accordance with that in terms of handling the gun? Should you have checked it? Who gave it to you? And so in a case like this, I think the attorneys are going to be really diving into what is that standard of care? What have we learned from the past of previous injuries, like Brandon Lee, who was injured in a similar fashion, and why did this happen? And so that investigation will go on for both sides.
And so, Brian, let me follow up there. If it does go to trial, Baldwin and Gutierrez, Reed's lawyers, say they're going to fight this to the bitter end. So what does a winning defense look like here, you think?
I think a winning defense here is saying, I was not negligent. I did everything I should have and could have done to prepare myself for having this gun in my hand. I was told it was cold. I'm a director and I'm an actor. I'm not the person who's handling the gun. And Gutierrez is going to say, the bullets should have been not live. They should have been properly handled, and I wasn't there. If, for lack of a better term, it's going to look like that kind of like Spider-Man meme of they're each kind of pointing at each other. And if they can keep pointing at someone else and say what I did was proper, that's the defense for both the defendants here.
And Tim, production on the film, as you reported, it's supposed to resume this month. I had a chance to speak with LA Times reporter Meg James earlier today, who says that the completion of Rust could change with these charges that Baldwin now faces. What's been the response from Hollywood on this?
Well, you know, Kira, SAG-AFTRA union is really defending Alec Baldwin right now. They are calling the DA's decision wrong and uninformed. They say that it is not an actor's responsibility to make sure that things are safe, especially with a firearm on set. They are pointing to industry guidance, saying that guidelines require an experienced, qualified armorer to put in charge and handle all of the firearm safety, including inspecting the firearm and the barrel before it is fired and afterward.
All right, Brian, Tim, thanks, guys, so much. Well, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen